We have to strike now, sir. Annihilate. Kill. Kill. Kill.
Hello, my Trigger happy friends. My name is Stevie Cade, and welcome to Film Trigger. Before we dive into my thoughts of whatever random movie I decide to watch this week, if you could hit the subscribe button and the little bell ding thing so you get notified every time I upload a new video. This week we're going to dive into what I think is probably one of the most underrated thrillers of all time. And join me in the comment section below as we review Mars Attacks. That's right, you heard me. Mars Attacks is one of the most underrated thrillers of our time. I mean, some people even call this a horror. I'm not sure I would go that route, but yeah, it's definitely a thriller of some kind. And I fucking love this movie. So let's immediately dive into what I like about this film. Number one, the star-studded cast. I think everybody's in this movie. I'm serious though. You have Jack Nicholson, Pierce Brosnan, Sarah Jessica Parker, Glenn Close, Lisa Marie, Danny DeVito, Natalie Portman, Martin Short, Michael J. Fox, Jim Brown, Christina Applegate, and even Jack Black. A young Jack Black, but Jack Black nonetheless, and a whole slew of other actors that I just don't feel like naming off. You can Google that shit if you want. And I'm a sucker for ensembles like this. Movies like Ocean's 11 and Pulp Fiction, when all the good actors has come together to do a fun, exciting film, which is what this is. Tim Burton masterfully executed a 50s style monster movie.
It's not a monster movie. It's a supernatural thriller.
It has the essence of all the old school thrillers that, well, I love. But they're majorly updated into modern times. Well, 1996 modern times, along with 1996 effects, which actually work in this film. Like, I'm not upset at the CGI. Yes, it's a bit cartoonish, but it works for the satire that this movie's going for. Like, it doesn't disrupt my viewing. Like, it's not bad. It works for what this is. You know how some movies CGI just doesn't translate and you're like, oh, that's really bad. I didn't have that here. I didn't get disconnected from the bad CGI because it's not bad, but it's not like the most realistic aliens I've ever seen ever in life. I would even go as far as to say a movie like this would suffer from extremely detailed CGI. I mean, like, think of Sonic the Hedgehog, you know, like, if Sonic the Hedgehog looked like a real fucking hedgehog, well, that just wouldn't work in a movie, now would it? And that sort of thinking is what I apply here, and that's why it works for this film. And the Martians themselves, these over-animated, super quirky alien beings, they're hilarious. I don't give a shit that I can't understand a fucking word that they say. That doesn't bother me one bit. Sound like the fucking Affleck duck? It's just obnoxious and entertaining, all wrapped in one. And we never really learn their integrity behind killing everybody. Like, we don't know why they want to destroy all humans. And yes, that's a reference to the video game that I am 100% certain was based off this movie. But we don't know why. We don't know what brought them to Earth and makes them want to kill everyone. Is it the dove that they release? Is that what triggered them? I don't know. I would venture to say that they just pretty much fucking hate everything, especially that fucking dove. Anything Earth sucks, and I don't necessarily disagree with them. Sorry, Earthlings. I think I just got canceled. But they're pretty much gremlins from outer space, and I don't think you can go wrong with that. Another thing that I like about this movie are the multiple storylines that are going on. I really just enjoy the different aspects. You see how this invasion, you know, pans out through the lenses of many different people from many different aspects of life. Now they're all being brought together by this global threat, this alien invasion. I mean, we get to see everything from the president's viewpoint, from the viewpoint of the press, of the military, the soldiers, your common everyday townspeople. You have stories of redemption and even the rise of an unlikely hero like Richie. All these different storylines help keep the pace moving, and you don't get too disinterested in learning about one person or another. There is a negative side to that, and I'll dive into that a little bit later. But overall, I think Tim Burton did a really good job illustrating the multiple aspects in which an alien invasion would affect. The death of the Martians. You know what I'm talking about. Slim Whitman's Indian Love Call. This fucking song. This is such an outrageously fun way to destroy an enemy. To listen to this comical wailing of Slim Whitman while aliens' heads violently explode, it's beautifully poetic. The overall ridiculousness of this movie is beautifully poetic. It works on so many levels that I actually had a hard time trying to find what I'm on the fence and what I don't like about when it comes to this movie. Just because the satire that it's held in, just how outrageous and ridiculous it is. It's hard to pin anything against it. You can't take this movie too seriously. But with that being said, we're gonna lead right into what I am on the fence about, because there are a couple things that I do have some issues with. Number one being the score. This one was hard to put on the list. That's why I put it why I'm on the fence, because anytime you use a theremin as an instrument in a thriller movie, I'm sold. Because I just love the sound of it. It's so eerie and haunting. But then you have Danny Elfman, who cannot help but to Danny Elfman the shit out of things. Like, seriously, I think this man does cocaine when he writes the composition of these orchestras. All right, guys, ready? In the back, more strings, more this, more everything, just give me more. If less is more, imagine how much more is. That's Danny Elfman. He's just extra like that. Which has worked for Danny Elfman in a lot of different movies. I mean, he gave us Batman, he gave us The Simpsons, he gave us, I can't remember, a whole galaxy of tunes that most of us would recognize. But over the years, his style has grown to be very repetitive. Like, I can pick out a Danny Elfman score, not because of its sophisticated writing or the way that it touches my soul. It's because it sounds like the same fucking shit I've heard 1,000 times. Sorry, Danny, but it's true. You're just kind of regurgitating your music a little bit here. So I like half the score. I like the half that doesn't sound like 90% of all other Danny Elfman scores ever in life. Another thing I'm on the fence about is the runtime of this movie. It runs just a little too long, which is a product of, having so many storylines going on at once. There were a few times where I found myself like, this movie's still got another half hour? Okay. Moving right along with what I don't like about this film. And the things that I don't like about this movie, they're not spectacular. As I said, I had a hard time trying to find things I could genuinely put on the list that I just didn't find to be outrageous because the movie was made to be that way, because that's what this fucking movie is. I am going to put Jack Nicholson on the chopping block here for playing two different characters unnecessarily so. Him playing the president, that's fine. That's a very Jack Nicholson thing. He still had good comedic timing, he was funny, he was interesting, and he demanded my attention every time he was on screen. But then there's that fucking Vegas cowboy son of a bitch that he was playing, and that character just, I don't understand it. I don't understand why Jack Nicholson was playing that character. It doesn't do the movie any justice. It doesn't do it any good, rather. There's no real reason for him to be playing that character besides, ooh, Jack Nicholson, we're going to give you the Eddie Murphy treatment. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't good.
There is no way that we can lose.
It was just painful. And maybe if it paid off in the end, maybe if they had this character replace the president as a decoy or something like that, okay, then maybe I could understand the purpose of having this character in there, or the purpose rather of having Jack Nicholson play this character also. But he doesn't do good. He doesn't look good doing it. He doesn't sound good doing it. And worst of all, I'm not sure, but I think they think it was a surprise to the audience when he took his wig off. We're supposed to be like, oh, that's Jack Nicholson. Did you know that? You? I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Honestly, one thing they could have done to make this character not even better, but actually just fantastically great, is take Jack Nicholson out of it. That should have been Michael Keaton to play that character. As a matter of fact, I feel like Jack Nicholson is doing his very worst impression of Michael Keaton in this role. That's what it comes across as.
I'll eat anything you want me to eat. I'll swallow anything you want me to swallow. So come on down now. Chew on a dog.
People still want to roll and move.
Definitely don't like Jack Nicholson playing that character. Could have done without that. It's kind of icky. Another side effect of there being a lot of characters and storyline going on is there's no real character development, which is okay for a movie like this, but like I would expect at least character development with the main character, the unsung hero, Richie. No real development. He's the same by the end of this movie as he was at the beginning. What did he do besides go see his grandma and drive her around and then play her music loudly? He didn't really develop. If there is any character development, it would be with the boxer Byron Williams. It seems like he was in a slump. You know, he had his golden years in the 70s as a boxer, and now he just does these cameo spots in Vegas. It's a redemption story for him. But again, we never really get any development with key players, with Richie, the president, his family. Maybe if we spent a little less time on Jack Nicholson playing Vegas Cowboy, maybe we could have got a little bit more with his other role as the president and his family, because he has a daughter that's obviously just wandering the White House because my dad's the president and I got nothing to do and can't go anywhere, and she doesn't develop at all. She just gives the medal at the end of the fucking movie for some reason. And that's pretty much it for what I don't like about this film. And this is where I typically do petty points. But petty points seem kind of pointless with this movie. I don't even know what I would put on this list. Maybe the fact that the Martians wear red silk underwear when they're on the mothership. That might be a petty point. I don't know. I'm not even going to do a petty point for that. Just know that that's a thing in this movie. Overall, as I said at the beginning, I feel that this movie is majorly underrated. This movie translates, I think, very well from 1996 to now. It's a great callback to the original supernatural thrillers, and I, for one, do believe that Mr. Ed Wood would be very proud of Tim Burton for making this movie. If you don't know who Ed Wood is, look him up. Worst director of all time who made movies like this, pretty much. For all these reasons, that's why I'm giving this movie a solid A.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great!
There you have it, my review for Mars Attacks. Let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? Why not? You know the gist. Comments below. If you comment, I'll join you. I don't have anything to do. Be sure to check out some more of my videos, and as always, stay trigger happy, my friends. Peace.
To me.